What's up, guys? Tim Little, Matt Allen. Welcome back to Tactical Bassin, and welcome back to our Spring Buyer's Guide series. Today we're going in depth with everything budget rod and reel combos.
We are so excited about this video. We've been looking, from the second this series started, we've been looking forward to getting to this one. Budget rods and reels have changed so much in recent years. We've told you before, if you've watched our Fall Buyer's Guide series through the years, we've talked in the past about how we would never come below the $100 rod and reel because everything below that used to be junk, and how in recent years that has changed. It has changed so much now that we've got entire series of rods at like $10 price jumps that just didn't exist a few years ago. And I'm so excited that we get to jump into this today because we're taking the same approach to budget-friendly rods and reels today that we've taken in the past with high-end gear, where we're really looking at the fine detailed differences between them. And I think it's amazing that we get to do this at this category. That's a shout out to all of the rod and reel builders on the market, because everybody has really gone out of their way to build quality, affordable gear in recent years.
Yeah, just look at these rods lined up here. Before it was like one, maybe two that we'd be willing to talk about. And now it's like, look at all these different choices, all these different brands, models, styles, technique-specific stuff. I mean, we're talking budget with technique-specific rods. So it's really, really cool to be able to show you guys this many different setups.
Let's jump into it. Here, why don't you go first?
All right, spinning?
Yeah. We'll go spinning, then bait casters. And I mean, these are bait casters too, but like general fishing, and then let's talk
specialty
bait, finesse, swim bait. Yeah,
cool. Right here, the Shimano Celis. This is a rod that I've used now for the last several years. Fished plenty with it, caught a bunch of fish on it. It comes in spinning and casting, but today we're talking about the spinning. So the Celis, I believe it comes in right around 50 or 60 bucks or so.
50 something.
Yeah, this combo, this is the Next Save. This combo is right around $100 to $110 for a legitimate spinning combo. You throw some braid on there, some braid to fluorocarbon leader, and it is sensitive. So this is a rod that's gonna last. The reel's gonna last, has a good drag system. This is a great spinning bait, or spinning bait, spinning combo.
The one I'm gonna talk about, and both of these are the lowest of the budget combos, right? The least expensive out of all of these. This is from Daiwa. This is a Daiwa Iridex paired to a Revros. And same story. It is a very quality combo for the money. This rod has taken a beating. It's been on my boat for 3 or 4 years. It's gone on multiple road trips with us. It's caught a ton of fish, and it's still kicking, right? It's still going strong, never broken it, never had so much as a hiccup out of it. Same with the reel, and I think that says a lot about these combos, even around that $50 mark for a rod or a reel. It's amazing that they're lasting. That didn't used to exist. Again, I think that's amazing.
Right, and then there's quite a few different combos you can make with this, and at this price point right here, right around $100. Now, stepping it up, we're still in that. You want that one, or you want me to take it?
Go for it. Doesn't matter.
Stepping up, now we're talking about a $100 rod, right around a $200 combo. So we're getting towards the top of the budgets. Stuff, but
we kind of jumped the whole middle on spinning because this video was going to be too big.
Too many rods. So this is the Tatula XT. This is a newer line from Daiwa. It comes with like, I think 6 different models. So if you like a drop shot rod, or you like a Nico rig rod, or a little bit longer rod for throwing swim baits, that sort of stuff, this is a rod line that you can do that with. You know, a lot of guys, they don't want to have a rainbow lineup of rods, you know, blue and chartreuse and whatever,
want to
right?
get a little matchy.
They want to get matchy and keep all of their spinning rods or all their bait casters the same. This is one of the entry lines that you can do that with. We have a couple other in the casting, but as far as spinning, you can do that. So you could have 2 or 3 different spinning rods and cover all of your finesse techniques. And this is paired up with the new Daiwa Fuego. Early on in my fishing career, many decades ago, the Fuego was my top of the line spinning reel. That was the Daiwa Soul, and the Fuego. It was just a good lineup, and they brought it back. Can't even spin it with this thing on my hand, but really smooth. It does have the anti reverse
so you can
clicker,
back
so you can back reel. Some of the other reels have went away from that, but if you guys like back reeling, light line, you can still do it with that. But a good, nice, smooth drag. And now you're talking about quality stuff that's going to last you quite a while. With that said, I believe don't quote me on it, but I believe these come with like a 5-year limited warranty, which is also cool.
That's awesome. Last combo here on the spinning side, and the biggest jump that you're going to see as you jump from, you know, the $50 mark to the $100 mark, or in this case a little bit over. I think Bass X is like 120, 125, something like that, paired to a Miravel, which is about the same. Huge jump up in sensitivity, as well as in weight reduction. So I think that is the two biggest features as you're looking at a spinning combo, deciding where you want to go. You can make a big leap in sensitivity. You can make a big leap in weight reduction by spending a little bit more. Bass X, Tim said it with the Tatula, you're seeing an expansion into a line of rods. St. Croix's Bass X is where you see a huge expansion in models. I mean, almost an overwhelming number of options that you can go through and really fine-tune a technique. There are some great rods in there that are multi-purpose rods. They'll do a lot of different things. That's probably what we'll link in the description. And right there would be a perfect place to tell you, if you're not familiar, if you're just coming in today, if you open the video description below this video, whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, whether you're on our website, wherever you're watching this, below the video in the description, there are links that go to all of these products, and we'll direct links to Tackle Warehouse where you can see them, see the descriptions. We'll also give you our favorite models for each one. And what I was going to say is that those models will include, for the spinning, it won't be the outliers, right? It won't be the rod that's great for throwing just a hair jig. It'll be the rod that's good for doing a bunch of different things, because I think that's important. Rods that can do multiple things, so you don't need 10 rods. You could just get away with a couple. So that's what we'll do for you. But again, that Bass X to the Miravel. The Miravel is extremely lightweight for the price. So was that Daiwa, actually. And it's remarkable how light they are compared to the budget reels of just a few years ago. Compared to the budget reels we used to use, it's a joke.
Right.
Like those reels, they wouldn't even allow on the market now. And those used to be good reels. This stuff now blows that stuff away. It's incredible.
All right, so now we're going to move into casting combos. Bait casting reels, rod and reel combos. Starting with this. This is the Defy Black. This is about a $60 reel, a rod, paired up with about a $60 reel-ish. Why we put this one, we started with this one in this lineup, is just like Matt said about the Bass X, is now you can get a full line. So if you're a guy that wants to have everything looking similar, looking the same colors, kind of, you can work your way up and down the actions depending on the powers, this is going to be a line for you. So that's the Defy paired up with 13 Fishing Origin R1. And the key thing with this guy right here, it has 18 pounds of drag. So not only can you throw a jig or Texas rig on it, but if you need to, you could spool up with braid and catch some frogfish on it.
That's amazing. It's amazing they have that much power in those things. The next one I want to talk about is from Halo. This is the Rave series. Now, this series, there's only 3 casting rods in the series, so it's not a giant series like some of these others. But there was something about this line that just absolutely jumped out at me. And that's why I think it's so important that, 1, it's in this video, but 2, why we're doing this video. There are new rods coming along with really unique features that just didn't exist even a year or 2 ago. And we're still finding these things, and we're trying to bring that to you. So traditionally, as you move down in price, you get more budget friendly, rods get much more parabolic, meaning they're slower actions. More of the rod loads when you pull on it. That's great for crankbaits, topwater, things like that. But there are techniques where that doesn't shine, right? There are techniques where you need some backbone in a rod. I was shocked when I got this guy right here in the Rave series. It's the 7.2 Heavy, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the 7.2 Heavy. It's an actual heavy. I mean, it's a serious rod. It's stout. Now you're talking about, you're still in the $60 range. And I've got it paired up to a Daiwa CC80, which is right in that price range as well. I mean, you're talking about a budget combo that can legitimately power fish. I can throw a spinnerbait. I could throw like a flashy swimmer, right? You could flip with it. You could throw a bigger jig on it. It's amazing the doors that open up now, even in that $60 range, where you get into an actual heavy action rod. I was very, very impressed by that.
Next up for me is going to be the Fate Black. Again, this is another one from 13 Fishing. 13 has an amazing lineup in this entire the budget series. They have some really high quality rods and reels at affordable price points, which is, you know, kudos to you guys at 13, because there's a lot of options and they work really well. So this is the Fate Black. Again, going with that entire line. You can get an entire line in this series paired up with the Origin F1. Now this specific rod, I'm gonna hand it over to you because I know you this is his everyday fishing popper rod. So
yeah, it's mind-blowing to me that they've come so far, because Tim and I like to use some pretty nice gear. We really enjoy high-end tackle, but some of these actions are so dialed. This is literally, this Fate Black 6'7" medium is literally my popper rod. This is the rod that I take out on the boat when I want to throw a popper. It is so dialed. It's got that crisp action, but a soft enough tip that I can really snap a popper, because I don't like to do those like big bloop, bloop, bloop. Like, that's not how I like to fish a popper. For me, I like to do like the, yeah, or that couple of them. Yep. Just barely work that thing, and it's got that crisp tip that does it perfectly, but it's soft enough in the mid that when I load up on them, I don't pull the hooks out of little tiny poppers on big fish. I've been very, very impressed by that, which is awesome, because it's like in the $70
low
range.
70, yeah. You're looking like 69, 70 bucks for the rod and reel.
Each.
Yeah, yes. Separate, but still below that $100 price point for each is awesome.
It's awesome. Okay, this is a Shimano Claris paired to a Shimano KSB. Couple of things here. This is where we're going up in price again. I think we're in like the 80s. That little $10 leap is a huge jump, because for Shimano, this is where you leap into all of the familiar actions. If you've got a favorite X-Pride, they offer that same action, most likely, in Claris. One of the absolute standouts to me is this one right here. I would have put the Claris in this video for no other reason than just this model, if that was the only one. This is an actual extra heavy rod under $100, under 90 bucks. It's really hard when you're on a budget. It was to find those stout rods. I was blown away to find a heavy. I'm even more blown away to find a true extra heavy. Frogging. You can actually frog with this combo effectively. I mean, you can frog with any of them, but hooking the majority of your fish, that's a whole different ball game. This rod is stout enough to actually go out there and frog, to flip heavy cover. I mean, true power fishing techniques on a budget, and you're doing it effectively. And again, it's paired to a KSB, which has an oversized handle on it, perfectly matched for power fishing. It's awesome. You put braid on that combo, you're sensitive, you're strong, you are lacking nothing. This specific one is the 7.2 extra heavy. And I'm shocked to even be saying that. It's awesome.
Next up for us is going to be the Savage Gear Squad Rod. You guys have heard us talk about this in videos in the past about their swim bait rods, but this is an entire line. Again, you've heard me talk about that multiple times in these first few rods, an entire line with different actions. This one right here, this is a 7.4 medium heavy, so it's a do-all. You know, you can throw your underspins, small swim baits, your jigs, your Texas rig, light Texas rig.
Right.
I mean, it's a do-all. This one specifically, but you can get the entire line. It's a super comfortable rod. It's pretty light, pretty sensitive, and paired that up. This is the 13 Fishing Modus C2. All in, you're right around like $200, I think, maybe a little less. Don't quote me. We'll link it down below. But again, you have an entire line of rods. You can get used to the different actions, have your specific ones you want for your different techniques, but this is quality and they work really, really well and they last.
Yeah, I've been amazed by those squad rods. The first one I picked up was a swim bait rod, and then I had to buy a couple of more because they're sensitive, the actions are dialed, they're really, really nice rods for the money. You want to throw me one or two of those? All right. This is that same Tatula XT that we talked about in spinning, but now we're talking casting, paired up to a Fuego. It is a solid $100 rod. I mean, they are very, very good. They've done a wrapping on the lower section of the blank. So the blanks themselves are really sensitive. The wrapping gives them a lot of rigidity in the lower section. So they're very, very powerful rods. They're very light for the money. They've done a really, really good job with them. They're very comfortable to fish with. You've got a bunch of great actions. I mean, as soon as we used to say we wouldn't go below $100.
Right.
Now, so much has changed. There's still a huge change when you get to $100, right? Like, right. This is a huge leap over some of the lower stuff in terms of sensitivity and in terms of the actions being dialed. But it is also a big leap in price from $60 or $70 up to $100. But there is a significant step there. So if you're the guy who's like, I don't know, do I take the leap? If you can afford it, take the leap. If you can't, there are some amazing options for less money. But again, paired to that Fuego, it's a phenomenal combo. The Fuego can really be dialed in. You've got an outside cast control with 20 settings on it. I mean, things that just didn't exist a few years ago.
Right.
It's amazing.
And I will say, when I picked up these two rods to give him the one, it was instant. I noticed a weight difference in these two rods and the rods that we've been holding earlier in this video. As soon as you get to that $100 price point, I mean, you can feel the difference. Maybe not sensitivity holding it in your hand, but you can feel how much lighter they are paired up with these reels. You can really feel it. So next up for me is going to be this guy right here, the SLX-A. This is a new rod, this year, right? They launched
in the fall, I believe.
Yeah,
the SLX-A's.
Yes, SLX,
and the reel too. That's
right.
The new SLX-A.
SLX paired up with an SLX. So if you want to be matchy, like to the
that is matchy.
This is the combo. Again, another. This is a great rod. You know, we fished these SLXs for years now. I mean, I've caught swimbait fish. I mean, we got the swimbait. If you want a whole line, again, whole line, Shimano has their actions dialed. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But if you want an entire line, all of the same style of rods, SLX is great. Durability, haven't had any issues. The reels have withstand. I mean, we've power fished on these now for a couple years. The new reel, few months. You need a frog rod. You need even a spin. I mean, we got them in spinning
from
too.
A drop shot rod to a frog rod, to flipping, cranking,
swim bait rod. You name it. That has a full line. But again, just like that Daiwa, as soon as you pick up that Tatula or the SLX, you feel the weight difference in these other rods.
Probably the coolest thing is when they came out with that new SLX reel, they made some significant upgrades to the reel
and didn't change.
No change in price.
Right.
They just left it. Last but not least, this is the St. Croix Bass X, the most expensive of the whole bunch.
Right.
And the Bass X is definitely a budget rod. But again, the world is changing. You're like mid 120s for that rod. Paired to a Lew's, a Speed Spool LFS, which I think is like right at $100. Great combo. Both extremely light. That guy, the Lew's, if I'm not mistaken, that's a 10 ball bearing reel at $100. I mean, it's amazing how much things are how many times can we say it's amazing things are changing?
Competition, right? It's good for everybody.
Yes. The Bass X, just like I said with the spinning, the line is so wide. So wide. You can dial in exact niche rods for everything, or you can grab a few models to do all of it well. We'll probably link you the few models to do everything well in the description, but really an amazing line of rods at a very affordable price. And I mean, you're talking at mid 120s, you're talking about rods that guys can tournament fish with for years. These aren't rods you're upgrading next summer. Really, really good gear.
Yeah, Bass X can almost get overwhelming. There's, I don't, was there 20 models or something like that in the line? There's don't quote me again, but there's a lot of models. I think they have hair jig. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff. So you can go down that rabbit hole if you choose to. But in this video, we're trying to get you rods that you can do multiple techniques with. But if you want to be that guy, Bass X has a rod for almost every technique.
Everything. Why don't you go here and I'll go there?
Okay. Real quick, swim bait rods. I talked about both of these rods earlier. Now we're talking about the swim bait lineup. So let's talk about SLX first, since it's in my hand. SLX swim bait rod. This came out this year as well. A little bit longer handle. I've caught fish up to just under 8 pounds on this already this year.
Can we count striper? Because then it's like pushing 30.
Yeah, a lot bigger fish. Blown away. You know, again, competition, it's good for everybody, right? So these rod builders, they're seeing what there was on the market, what the price points were, and they're like, hey, let's beat that. And they drop the price down. They make the rod nicer. They make the rod, you know, either technique specific or lighter or whatever it may be. But this guy right here, I'm gonna read you the model. This is the 7/8 heavy, and it's a good all-around swim bait rod. It's great for throwing mag drafts, smaller mag drafts, the freestyles, you know, any of your smaller, what less than 8 inch.
I mean, I would throw an 8-inch hut on this. I've been amazed by that rod. Yeah.
I wouldn't go anything
below there.
Yeah, anything below there you can cover with this rod right here. And then the squad rod. You've heard Matt talk about this rod now for several years. That's paired up.
Kind of broke the budget
over
there, but
the budget
there's a lot of options on the swim bait reels.
On the Tranks. Swim bait reels, it's hard. You want to go with you can get away with a 200 size reel, but if you're going to do it right, go with a 300 size reel. It's going to be better drag, more power when you hook that fish. It's going to last long. You're not going to blow out any of the stuff inside. But the squad rod, so I already talked about that in the casting rods. Again, swim bait rod. This is another rod that caught big fish on, has great actions. Paired that up with the 13 fishing. That's the A3, so the 300 size reel, and that's a win-win combo as well.
I love that combo too, like treble hook baits. Like we've smashed gantarelle fish on that. We've smashed magdraft fish on that too. Glide bait fish. It's amazing that at that $100-ish mark, I think they're a little more than that, you're looking at rods that are just so dialed in. All right, last but not least, bait finesse. It's been in every video. The bait finesse category is exploding. Bait finesse, until recent years, has cost a fortune, and you had to import it from Japan. You might be looking at a $400, $500, $600, $700, $800 combo if you wanted to play bait finesse a few years ago. Bait finesse being ultralight finesse fishing with a bait caster instead of spinning gear. These bait casters are capable of everything those spinning reels are capable of, and that is amazing.
Cool.
Bait finesse It's exploding because it's fun, right? For the guy on the Tennessee River who's used to power fishing, you can drop down to bait finesse, catch these giant fish, and they will try and rip your arms off. For the guy fishing a pond in the Midwest whose biggest fish is 11 inches long, you can hook them on this rod and they will try and rip your arms off.
He'll drag.
It's a blast. It just makes fishing more fun across the board. The biggest thing that I'm shocked by is that we're now talking about it in this video, right? That's mind-blowing. This is the reel that created the change. This is Shimano. This is the Curado BFS. This came over 2 years ago now.
Yeah, something like that.
The Curado BFS has changed everything because it made bait finesse affordable to the majority of the population. Now, it's still like a, don't quote me, I think it's 209, I think is what that reel runs. So it does not fit in this video by itself, but you really only have one other option. And we'll get to that. This one is in the price range. So if you're stepping up at all, you're going to Curado BFS. If you want to invest and really expand into that category, this is where you're ultimately headed. But I have this paired. This is a Bass X 6/8 medium extra fast. Not a rod that I would have thought would play in the bait finesse category, but when you grab one and you flex it, it will totally do it. It's right in the bait finesse lineup of rods that I currently own in higher end rods. I would say it's middle of the road in terms of how stiff it is. When we're talking about throwing micro Texas rigs and things like that, perfect for all of that. And you're talking about a rod that's like $120, $130. Now, this right here brings bait finesse to the masses. You're talking, this is a Cast King Zephyr. The Cast King is like, I don't know, 60, 70 bucks, something like that. It's not a bare bones budget reel by any means, but it is not super expensive either. You can totally afford this reel, and it really will. It is smoky. There's a burn pile going. It stinks around here all of a sudden. That reel really will throw these light baits, and so far I've had no issues with durability because, again, you're not stressing the combo. It's pulled up with 6-pound line. How much pressure are you going to put on that reel? I have paired that to a Denali Riker, both the 6'6" medium or medium heavy. This is a medium heavy. This rod is so limber, 100% it fits the category. I could throw a Ned rig on this. I can flip little Texas rigs. I can throw tiny crankbaits, tiny topwaters, you name it. All the BFS stuff that's so fun on like a $60-something rod. It's incredible. So that is hands down the most affordable rod I have found that's got the right action to really be able to play in this game at an amazing price point.
Yeah, the BFS stuff is so cool. For those guys that haven't followed along or are unfamiliar with BFS, like Matt said, it allows you to throw your favorite spinning rod techniques on bait casters, but you don't have to worry about backlashing. With the shallow spools and the way these reels are developed, you don't have to really worry about throwing those light baits. You have, I mean, I have several BFS setups now, and I can cast farther with those than I can with my spinning rod.
Right.
And you don't necessarily have to worry about bait backlashing. And then also, it's that same reel. It's that same feel that you have with your swim bait rod or your everyday bait casting rod, right? You don't have to change up your reel cadence with a spinning reel or anything like that. It's just more natural feeling. So you might be throwing a Kitech 2.8 on this, and you're reeling it the same way you would be with your big swim bait rod. That and how it's so much fun are the two big things for me about BFS. But it's really cool that we are talking about BFS combos in a truly a budget rod and reel combo video.
Yeah, guys, we were so excited to do this video because this category has changed so much, And we know the need is out there, right? Not everybody can afford high-end gear. Some people can afford it but don't want it, because this gear has changed so much. You can fish right here. And we're so excited that we finally got to take the time and really do a full breakdown of budget-friendly gear. And in the video description, we're going to link all of this in the order we talked about it, rods and reels. We'll include some of the extra stuff if there's room. I'm looking at how many are here. It might take up the entire description. We're limited to how much we can have there, but hopefully we can get it all in for you. It's pretty amazing that all of this gear plays. It's awesome.
Yeah, in a category that we used to only talk about 1 or 2 combos, if that. So guys, hopefully you enjoyed that video. We had a lot of fun picking these rods. I mean, using these rods. We've used all these rods. We've put them to the test. Quality wise, they're good. Sensitivity, they're good. You guys won't be disappointed. So if you guys like this video, give us a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. We appreciate you guys following along this series. We have one more video for you. Tomorrow we have best bang for the buck combos. You guys,
all the price points.
You guys should like that one. But like I said, thank you guys for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you guys tomorrow.